Okay, so some interesting developments. Um, with Geo posting video after video, texting me yesterday. Daniel Dowd calling me this morning and leaving a voice message from a restricted number. I ended up calling 911 this morning just to tell them that Neil needed to check his emails. And it was this morning that I was told that Neil is not working. And that is a quote. Neil isn't working. I wasn't told why. No reasons were forthcoming. But just by that mere thing alone, they don't have their gatekeeper anymore. That's what that means. If Neil isn't working, their gatekeeper isn't working, isn't at his post anymore. So they're not as protected as they have been when Neil had his hand on everything. ShelbyCounty, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross. I don't know why he's not working. I would assume the reason it's for bad reasons. That's what I would assume. I just know how this I know how this works. And I would assume that Neil watches these. And so, Neil, I warned you repeatedly throughout the years that if you chose to stand as a gatekeeper between me and these child killers, I would bulldoze the fuck over you to get to them. And so now that you're not working, and I would assume that is for bad reasons. 4 little words. I told you so. You didn't bother to listen, but I told you so. But now they no longer have their gatekeeper. Thomas going on and on and on about how wonderful Neil is. Geo just today. Oh, I sent all this stuff to Neil, you know? Their gatekeeper is gone. And the cynical side of me would say, yeah, but maybe he's just playing dead like Aquino did and my stepmom did, and it's all a lie. Because you do have to remember, this is the same department that just 2 months ago sent me to an FBI satellite office in Council Bluffs that didn't exist. So, but there is, so my critical reasoning, cynical side wants to just naysay everything. If anybody's in here and you're talking, I can't see any of the conversation, just to let you know. Nothing has come up. Not like there's a lot of people in here, but oh, someone just responded. Thank you. I always have to keep up on that because sometimes it goes away. Welcome, Sherilyn. Sherilyn, sorry. So with Neil and this whole situation, their gatekeeper is gone. And my cynical side wants to kill the hope, because speaking to those 2 deputies, this is what I've been shown. You know, it's funny that Deputy White kid that showed up with that to that fire alarm because someone. I know that they told him not to look me in the eye when he shook my hand. So when he was leaving and I stuck out my hand to say goodbye, it was pretty obvious because the dude is slightly taller than me and I am a tall guy. And I know damn well that that kid does not shake hands like a proper 1700 proper lady. Because he handed me his hand in a way that I wasn't sure to shake it or to kiss it. But at the same time he did that, he almost put his face through my outside glass door because he turned his face away so fast and was trying to get away from me so hard, and the door jams and he slammed his face into this glass thing. It was just, the minute it happened, I knew what I was facing, and it was almost endearing. This is what I know about this Officer White. He has this energy about him, this light about him that compels you to be a better person. That's the feeling that I got from him, is that the people that he's around, they want to be a better person. He's like an endearing kind of guy. That's the energy that he has. So it's funny because what I did to him, I didn't have to ask permission because he left immediately after that, and I closed the door and asked heaven to bless him and to keep his heart safe. Because what I knew about the kid is that kind of light, what he has that's inside of him, because it's just him. He doesn't do anything on purpose. It's not what he said. It's not what he did. It's his whole, that light comes from heaven. He's yet another warrior for heaven, and there's a whole army of us here. Sorry, guys, my nose is itchy like crazy. And so I asked for blessings. And I know that it was the right thing, and the reason why I'm saying that this is what gives me hope is that in talking to the two deputies afterwards, having to call 911 and talking to two different deputies, they both knew exactly what I was talking about. And it was funny because you could tell that both of the deputies that I talked to that talked about that kid really liked him. Found the kid endearing. He just has that ability. And so I think that things have shifted at the sheriff's department in a way that God is in there. This kid, Deputy White, has this effect on people because Harlan is 4,888 people. That's how big Harlan is. And I talk to lots of people around. And so I started bringing up conversations, and they've had such a big hiring thing going on at the sheriff's office that nobody knows who anybody is at the sheriff's office. However, every single person that I talked to knew who this Deputy White kid was. And when they talk about him, they like him. You can tell that they like the dude. And so I think that heaven is working on so many levels. And so I have hope. But knowing that Shelby County, Iowa Sheriff Neil Gross is not working right now means that their gatekeeper isn't at his post. And it gives me hope that there's going to be more looked at than what Neil was doing. And I think that's why these indisposed, yeah. I wasn't told. I was just told. And again, Neil isn't working. And it was the way that it was said that it felt like there was gravity to what was being said. And so the Dead Eyes at Cappy Club can't count on Neil anymore. I warned Neil that if he was going to stand as the gatekeeper and protect these people, I'd bulldoze right over him. You know? Warned him. There's a reason why Michael Aquino played dead for me. But what they're facing is exactly what I've said. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. No one is going to come save you. And you can't save yourselves. And what has a hold of you is worse than you can even conceive of right now. That's what's happening. That's what's going to happen. You know? I said that that eclipse, that they did all of those red heifers and sent them over and all of that. They did their abomination of desolation ritual without having the help of the fallen. It was just them. And they failed. So now, because they did the ritual and they failed, the ball is now in heaven's court. And heaven finds their group to be an abomination. And so therefore, by their own rituals and their own intent, hey Beverly, with their own rituals and their own intent, heaven is now going to bless them with desolation. That's what is happening. They are going to be meted with desolation. When I told Aquino in one of these past live videos that I did on YouTube that I put a doorway in my doorway so that when they crossed the threshold into my home unwanted, they went into the dark. I gotta get a Kleenex. Hold on. You want to go in? Sorry, I needed a Kleenex. So when I made that door and told Aquino that it would only take one more person coming in one more time, and then I waited a day and a half so that they were just frothing at the mouths waiting to get into the house. And they did. They came into my house. They crossed the threshold unwanted, and I told them that it would be in the dark. What I was trained is that energy can be neither created nor destroyed. That's the first law of quantum physics. Energy can't be created or destroyed. However, it can be focused and directed, and it can definitely be returned. And I'm very good with that. The whole thing about them coming in is that now the darkness can return to them because you have to sow it before you can reap it. In order to have it be returned to you, you must first give it. And so they came into my house unwanted and did whatever the fuck they wanted to my house, to me. They just did whatever they wanted. And so now the darkness can go into their houses, unwanted, or wanted or not, and do whatever the fuck it wants to them. That's how it's working. That's the reason why they're so focused on me all of a sudden. Geo doing video after video after video and mentioning me over and over and over. And Daniel leaving me a voicemail and this shit yesterday and all of that. They're focused. The dark has a hold of them. And now their gatekeeper can't protect them anymore. Now people are starting to look into everything. And I know they are because the last two deputies that I have talked to in this whole thing actually asked me questions that I figured a policeman should ask. So they at least asked the right questions. And when the last deputy told me, keep forwarding the emails because it establishes a paper trail. Exactly, So I think that this is all starting to be looked at really hard. I woke up this morning super irritated because a friend who is just a little stay-at-home mom simply went on to YouTube and started typing in people's names, and so much information came forward. She was reminding me of names I hadn't heard of in a long time. And what they found in all of this is that this group likes to target the young and the vulnerable. And they do the same shit they have spent the last year doing to me, to a bunch of other people. Some kid in Canada named Zach. Same thing. Same thing. Same game. Same game. Same bullshit. Same everything. And so their gatekeeper is gone. And now people, at least where I'm at, are starting to look. And I knew it would happen. I live in small town Iowa. 4,888 people live here. I know how to work small town Iowa. Hey, Saki. I know how to, and Katie. I don't think I said hello. I know how small town, and people are watching, and they're involved now because it was small town Iowa, and their gatekeeper Neil can't help them anymore. Thomas can go on and 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 on, extolling Neil Gross's virtues, but he can no longer help them anymore. Geo can tell me all the stuff he sent Neil to prove his innocence. And Daniel can say whatever he wants, leave as many voicemails, just extolling his innocence. But their gatekeeper can't help them anymore. There's no more help on that side. And that's all I've ever wanted, was a legitimate look at this group, so that they could be investigated That's what needed to happen with all of this from the very beginning. You know? From the very beginning. And so, and I think that kid that's there, he's a kid. He's 20 something years old. I got the impression that he tries too hard. He's kind of unsure of himself. He's a deputy sheriff trying to prove himself in that whole situation. He's really trying hard. However, the kid is going to be a leader. He's going to be a leader. He inspires people to be better people. And it's just the energy that comes out of him. It's not even anything that he does. It's just kind of who he is. That's what I gathered from it. That was what was so sad when he smashed his face into my door, because I had no intention of doing to him what I did to that government dude with the F4 tornado and Chad Butler, because I know that officer was Chad Butler. Because besides, sending the dark to the faithful doesn't work. You know? Too much light, too much heart doesn't work, you know? And I think that just that kid's presence in that department is starting to influence the people that are around him. And I don't see how it can't. You know, I only met him he was only in my house for what? No more than 20 minutes. If that, you know? But everyone in town people don't know who the deputies are, but everyone seems to know this kid. And because he's a good kid. I mean, obviously he's a deputy sheriff, so he's not a kid, but I'm old. So to me, he's a kid, you know? But he has the light of heaven shining through him. God is going to use him for good. That's why I asked for him to be blessed and his heart to be protected. Because, of course, the first thought is, well, he's working under Neil. That ain't going to go well. But I should have known that heaven had more of a hand in everything. Their gatekeeper is gone. Their gatekeeper is gone. And the people, two deputies that I spoke to after meeting that Officer White, having to speak to two completely different experiences. It was the same thing as Brandon Gosh. Because Brandon Gosh was the deputy that dealt with my car when they slammed into my car. And that, I have a feeling, was all intentional. And they had Brandon Gosh. And Brandon Gosh and I ended up talking outside of his vehicle on Saturday morning for like 45 minutes to an hour. He was a really, really, really good guy. And I think that they get surprised, because I think that they've been told that I'm one way, but then when they actually interact with me, they realize that none of that is true. You know? I'm not anti-police. Are you crazy? I am so not anti-police. But police who are criminals, who help the criminals, oh yeah, I'm against them all the way. All the way. Because what difference? The only difference between them when they're helping the criminals is a little badge. That's the only thing. They're all criminals. And I don't have any respect for police who will abuse their authority. Fuck them. But that's not everyone. That's not everyone. And this kid, this Deputy White kid, he's a sheriff And I could tell that he became a sheriff for the right reasons. You know, it might be idealistic. He's very idealistic. He's young, you know. The one deputy said, yeah, almost in diapers. And he's young. But the kid has integrity, you know, has integrity and empathy, and he seems to be going in the right direction. And I think that he's having an influence on others who may not be so inclined in that department. Because I don't think that you can be around that kid and not be affected by what just emanates from him. And like I said, the last two deputies that I talked to, you know, but I'm just blocking everything now. You know? Now that I've realized that I didn't figure out how to block people through Gmail. But Outlook, oh man. There is a block there. And so Thomas can't email me anymore. His weird ass friends sending me pictures of 100 guns laying on a bed and stupid memes and all of that. Can't email me anymore. Because I'm done with the harassment. I'm done with the harassment. Gio wants to say, oh, you blocked me. I blocked you, dude, because you had just left me a thing. That voice thing, and I know it was you. Saying over and over and over, you're a faggot. David Shurter's a faggot. I'm not arguing with your stupid ass. You can go do that shit to someone else. I'm not dealing with it. I'm not dealing with it. And I'm not dealing with criminals who want to just harass me on my phone. Not going to deal with it. Not going to deal with it with the email. I am tired of dreading opening my email. I got tired of it. And so I'm not doing it anymore. Yes, Saki, it was disgusting. Because there are people on here that I have sent all of that stuff to. It was way over the top. That's why I woke up this morning angry about it. I was already angry about the fact that just a normal person could find out so much information in a day on YouTube, you know? And here I am still struggling to get cops and authority figures on board with this. And so I was irritated, but then to have all that shit that I had to deal with this morning, I was pissed. I was pissed. And I was pissed. But then I'm pretty sure could have been Cindy, could have been my friend Larry. It's funny, my friend Larry is my third and final lieutenant on the other side. Max Spears, Isaac Cappy, and my friend Larry. Larry is actually closer to me than Isaac and Max Spears because Larry and I were actually friends. He was a truck driver. So we spoke hours on the phone a day. And hey, thank you, Beverly. Thanks for stopping in. Have a good night at work. Be safe. Be warm. But now I've just lost track of what I was saying. I just know that things are shifting and changing. That's how I feel. And bye, Beverly. I'm just really excited about it. What I was saying was Larry was, they can say whatever the fuck they want. But Larry and I were really good friends, and he came to me at a really difficult time in his life because he was buying into this romanticizing and glorifying this whole gay bullshit. And I'm talking as a man who has been gay, and I burned, my sister Cindy's told people, used to say that I burned my closet down when I was 3. And so, but Larry was buying into the whole, well, I want to leave my wife and go be with the gay guy and go live this life. I asked him, how old are you? He told me he was in his 50s. I think he said 58 at the time, because this was a conversation. We were friends when I was in Seattle, when I was in Washington. I always say Seattle, but it was Washington, Algona. And I told him, if you do that, the only thing that awaits you is misery and sorrow and loneliness. Because after 30, gay guys don't. It's like Logan's Run, you know? Nobody wants you after 30. That's the way it works, kind of. And Larry told me, well, I have to talk to someone about this. I got to talk to someone. And I told him, dude, I have the perfect person for you to talk to. The perfect person for you to talk to. And he said, who? And I told him, your wife that you've been married to for 29 years. You need to go tell her what's happening in your head and your mind, and you need to reach out to her. And, he did. And I know that he did because he ended up having a heart attack. He had a clot. And I had talked to him for 4 hours that morning, and that afternoon, his wife posted on his Facebook that Larry died. And I thought it was Larry saying that he died. And I was just like, dude, but I was so busy, I didn't have time to deal with it. So that night I went back onto Facebook to go bitch at him to find out that it was his wife who left it. He must have died right after we got off the phone and had a heart attack. And from a clot, and he was having problems breathing that day, but I didn't think anything of it. I just thought he was busy and doing work and stuff. And she told me that she wanted to thank me, that she owed me a lot. And I told her, you've never met me. Why did why are you thanking me? And she told me, Larry came to you at a really hard time in his life. And the advice that you gave him saved our marriage. And so they can say whatever the fuck they want about anything about me. That's just, I'm not the one saying all this weird ass sexual shit online. I'm not the one. That's them. I'm not the one on platforms with a bunch of fucking kids. That's them, not me. And so therefore, all of their weird ass shit that they want to put on me, I put on them. I'm not dealing with kids. I'm not saying all this weird ass sexual shit to people thinking that it's funny. It's not funny. And so therefore, I have a real issue with that. But now again, their gatekeeper is gone. Their gatekeeper is gone. Neil isn't working. And I know they're looking into shit. The very last deputy that I talked to on the phone, both of these conversations have been about an hour long. And the last one, he was asking me to, Tommy Chong. That's not a bad comparison. I like Tommy Chong. Very intelligent dude. Both of them were very intelligent. Thank you. I guess that's what I should say. But the last conversation I had with the last deputy, he started asking me all kinds of, he asked me for names. And so, hey, wow, man. Okay, I did it. I usually don't do shit like that, but it made me smile. Hey, wow, man. That's cool. I love Cheech and Chong, you know? But I think that things are shifting and changing. You know, I think that things are shifting and changing, and for the better. For the better. I think that providence is starting to happen. I know that the group of individuals that I am looking to get to actually help push the word and encourage people to keep their faith is slowly coming together. You know, thanks, Danny. You made a lot of people laugh, you know. I just think that I think things are shifting and changing, and just for the better. And I think that there is an army of us here from heaven. I have a bandana. Are you kidding? I definitely have bandanas. I just didn't, you know. Next time, one of these times, I'll wear a bandana, you know. I also have this leather biker hat thing that I love to wear when I'm in my car because I have a sunroof in the summer that I always have open. And if I have that biker cap on my head, my hair doesn't fly around. So if I'm in a good mood, I feel like everyone should be as well. Ditto! You know? When I'm in a shitty mood, I just want to stay alone. You know? So, I don't like to share my shitty moods. But when I'm in a good mood. And heaven has opened the door in so many ways for me to actually reach out to like strangers. I just had a conversation with this woman who was a grandmother whose grandson that she was trying to help ended up committing suicide 3 years ago. And it was just, you know how God bless her. That's what I did too. I blessed her. You know, as I leave, I bless a lot of people. You know, when I walk away from them, I ask for blessings to be given to them as I'm walking away. That's the Deputy White kid. I asked for blessings on him because he was such a good kid. You know, a little overzealous. Freaked me out. The event, he ended up for showing up behind me in my 3-season porch, so he had to walk through my house to get there. And not that I care about that. It's just that when he showed up behind me, it freaked me out because it was like, oh my God, you know, I wasn't expecting that. But that's why I say he's a little bit overzealous, but his heart is definitely in the right place. And he's a good kid. And he influences people around him. And he's working in that department. And I think talking to those 2 deputies that they're all being influenced by it. And so that's just, you know, I just think that they're all being influenced by it. And I'm really happy about that because the gatekeeper thing is over now. You know, the gatekeeper thing is over. They can go on and on and on, but Neil isn't working right now. And so they're obviously going to have to reach to someone else. And who do you reach to? Because there's so many people there now. You know? Heaven is answering its prayers. And so therefore, I am kind of excited because I feel that the time for me to be able to turn away and stop focusing on these fucking child killers, excuse my language, but the time for me having to focus on these asswipes is now shifting. And my focus is going to be able to go, and if I can get a group together where we actually remind everybody of the word and give them hope, no matter how hard things are going, to keep our souls and our faith intact during this time of tribulation, because the shit's it's already bad. We just don't feel the effects of it yet. And so I'm very excited that that moment is coming. And it's funny because the people that are, I'm not the leader of this group. I'm just trying to bring it together. It's a group full of leaders. We all lead in our own way, and but I found out that they're telling people that they're reincarnated people of other people. That bullshit pisses me off. And I'm just saying, Tommy, what you're doing, there are consequences, severe consequences. Standing in the light and moving people to the dark. There's fucking consequences for that shit. Zachariah, to be specific. Zachariah, some kid from Canada. The same shit you did to Isaac, the same shit you did to that Zachariah, the same shit you've done to me. And I know there's others, Thoughts on Trump buying Greenland and Canada. I think that there's a whole lot of other shit that's way more fucking important. I think we're being distracted, but that's just it. Today's not about politics. I don't want to get into politics. Their shit is crashing down. Their shit is crashing down. The fact that we just gave a weekend Fox host the nuclear codes says it all. A drunk ass has a Nazi tattoo, is arrogant, is dumb, and he controls the nuclear codes now. Says it all. Says it all. It's done. It's done. No more gatekeepers where I come from. My quilt is coming along good. Thank you, Saki. I'm not finished with it. I'm trying to get it quilted. I'm going to try and make bags to sell. I'm trying to do whatever I can, but there's only so much time in the day. And my focus is, because of everything that I've had to deal with, the shit that they do, they know they can trigger my PTSD. And it is hard to be productive and stuff when they have pissed me off and I am pacing around upset. I ended up having to take a bath this morning to calm myself down. And that was when I know that it was either my sister Cindy or Larry or whatever, but someone from the other side came and said, you need to actually look at this in a completely different perspective. Because instead of feeling like, oh my God, it's just becoming chaotic, the reason why, that's just it. And that's why it's been used so much, And that's why the term Nazi has been used so much, But they're evil. They're just as evil today as they were before. Just as evil. And so I hate to do this, but I've been drinking water all day. And I have to go to the bathroom. And so I'm thinking about ending this. But if you guys are appreciating what's going on, I'll just go to the bathroom and come back. because I've only been on for 45 minutes, but I'm willing to, my energy is kind of, okay, I'll let you guys wait. I'm just going to go to the restroom quick and I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, the water, that's the issue, is that the fountain was going. And it's hard to have to go to the bathroom and listen to water running at the exact same time. I love you. Thank you. When I got these plants, they were dying. I got them from my friend at Hy-Vee. They were going to throw them away because they were at the end, and they were definitely dying. And so they asked me, my friend asked me, she's the manager there, one of the managers, and was just like, I rescue plants. If I didn't have old dogs, I used to rescue animals. That's how I got Lucy, my ball python. Fostered her, I am really psyched because I see the light at the end of the tunnel with all of this. And it's been a long time coming. And my perspective, even though it has taken me an entire day, and then I had to take a nap. Oh, thank you. I had to take a nap today because I was so tired before I did this live. But I really had to start looking at it in a way that was not so cynical, but actually allowed for hope. And the fact that a group is forming, and I keep running into people that I know, because this Deputy White kid, I know he's from heaven. He, I don't think, knows it, but you can't have a light like that and not be from heaven. And there's an army of us here. I'm not the only one. I'm one of an army of people, And the fact that we're all starting to find our place is just really uplifting, is really uplifting, because it's never been all about me. I'm just, but I will say that I learned what a live action player, okay, I still don't know how, a LARP, someone explained to me, because for the longest time, they always call me a LARP, and I had no idea what a LARP was. Live action real player or something like that, I still kind of, because I'm not, I've never played video games. You know, the video game that I used to play, you had two little things and there was a ball that went back and forth and the ball went faster and faster. That's, Tetris that you had to pay a quarter for. I love Tetris. That was one of my favorite games. Favorite arcade games. But live action role play. That's it. Live action role play. And so sitcoms are like scripted stuff. See, Saki is the one who actually had to explain it to me because I didn't know what it was. And again, I'm not online with a bunch of kids like this group is. They use terminology that I have no idea what it is. Because I'm an old dude. And I'm not a troll, Old gay guys that hit on young guys. And I'm not talking young like children. I'm talking even, 20s, 30s. I'm not a troll, So if I'm a LARP, they are a part of it. I am writing the book. I am writing a book, and my publisher loves the title. Funny enough, the book that I'm writing about the whole gay thing is called Faggot. I'm writing a book that I've entitled Faggot. And it's my experiences as a gay guy, only I'm not glorifying anything. Some of it's funny, some of it's not. It was the gay life that they ended up hiding all of the child trafficking in Omaha, the Hollywood bar and the stage door and the Max and especially the Run. That's where all of it was hidden out in the open. And I'm not in the gay lifestyle anymore. I can't tell you, I haven't been in a gay bar, oh my God, probably 20 years. Because Michael and I stopped going to gay bars, and I haven't been in a gay bar, especially since I've been divorced. I've been celibate since I've been divorced. And so it will be real. It's going to be honest. It's just going to be honest. And I think that it's being promoted in a way. I'm not going to vilify the whole thing, but I'm also this promotion, this whole. It is funny because I've talked to people who have had me actually talk to their kids. And when I say talk to their kids, I'm talking the kids that I talked to were in their 20s, 24, 25, 26. And their conceptions of the gay lifestyle was way different, and they're straight, was way different than what I know it to be as a gay man. And so I think that honesty needs to be brought to the whole situation. I think that fundamentally, a lot of the gay issue is hand in hand with the abuse issues. The gay thing goes with abuse. Not always, but there is a strong enough correlation between the two that it at least needs to be considered, and talked about. That's what my personal experience, having dealt with all of this on a personal basis in my own life, I just think that, that's why you see women who go through assault and all of that, who end up becoming gay, Kids these days don't have to hide anything at all. And I think shame is necessary. I think that there are things that are acceptable now that we didn't do before because they weren't acceptable, and there was a shame that went with it, and nobody wanted to have that shame in their life. And I'm not all for shaming people, but shame is, there are things that should not be acceptable. You know, there are plenty of things, and I don't even want to list them off. And not just the gay thing, it's the straight thing. I just think when I moved to Washington, I moved to Washington because I thought I was ultra liberal. Because I grew up in Nebraska. Even though I traveled around, I'd pretty much always come back to Omaha. Omaha's incredibly Republican, incredibly conservative. And so when I moved to Washington, I thought, oh, I'm ultra liberal. So I moved to the Pacific Northwest, which for the most part, the chunk where I was at is ultra liberal. And what I discovered is I'm way more conservative than I ever gave myself credit for. I'm not conservative like they are here because they're kind of dickheads. I'm more conservative for myself. I'm not interested in controlling everybody else. I'm just interested in controlling myself. And I personally like boundaries. I like knowing what I should do, what I shouldn't do. I like those boundaries. Boundaries make me feel safe. That's just how I feel. I don't feel constricted by boundaries. I like having rules. And I'm quite conservative. Saki, I already picked that up. I already picked that up. I think what it is that most of us kind of fall in the middle. I'm kind of an independent, moderate kind of person. I think both sides, the extremes of both sides, are insane. I think that the extremes of the Republican side are extreme, that are crazy. I definitely think the extremes of the left side are crazy. I think that anybody who takes anything to the extremes has mental issues. But this whole everything is okay and evil is good and good is evil and all of this bullshit that seems to be propagated in everything, our politics, our media, everything. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it, and I think that there's what my focus is that what I would like to do with the group that is forming is actually remind people of their own humanity, of their own humanity. Because that's, I think, what we're losing is our humanity, our compassion, our empathy. But also, we live in America. If you disagree with something, you should be able to say that you disagree with it. That was what I grew up with. That's how we looked at in America. That we had choices. I may not agree with what you're saying, but I will fight to the death for your right to say it. Isn't that what was used to be said? And that's, there's no more discourse. There's just tribalism. Everyone is in their own little camp. And I just think that things are coming in a way that those camps aren't going to work anymore. And we're all going to need each other. Eventually, we need each other now. And I think there's an army of us from heaven who are here to help get people through all of this. And that's where my focus. I really am really hoping and praying that they are looking into this child trafficking thing, because at 58 years old, if I know that it's being dealt with and I can change my focus to something else and not think that the ball is just going to drop, man, I can't wait for that day, because I'm so tired of dealing. This group that I'm dealing with suck. They all suck. Every time I interact with them, I feel like I need a bath afterwards. With all of them. They suck. And I just am tired of dealing with it. Life changing. I think that my life, I never gave myself hope that my life could actually change. I thought I'd be stuck in all of this forever. And I think that that's starting to shift and to change. And the fact that Neil isn't working means they don't have a gatekeeper anymore. And I can tell you that the conversations that I've had with 2 different deputies, there's definitely some interest there in finding out what the hell is happening and what's going on. And so I think that things may be shifting and changing in a way that heaven is answering its promises to me. That's what I think. Heaven's answering its promises to me. Because going out and being a nice person and actually encouraging people and all of that is so much more conducive to who I am as a person than having to fight with these asswipes constantly. And there are some of you who talk to me who know that to be true. I love people. And their group is an abomination unto God. So many emails. See, that's now that people are starting to see, but that's slowed down because I just figured out that I could block from Outlook. Yesterday? So I started blocking people. I love blocking people. It's not that I am afraid of them. That's Geo. Oh, you blocked me. Dude, I didn't block you because I'm afraid of you. I just don't see the point. The fact that you started the conversation this morning, texting me, saying that you don't drink, there are people on here who heard the voicemail you left me at 11:30 in the morning on a Sunday. And if you weren't drunk, you were on something, That's right. There's hope in Jesus, not in Trump, but in heaven and Jesus and the Word. There's hope. You can feel it. If you are inclined to it, you can feel that there is hope. For the first time ever, it's like the faithful can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're not there yet, but at least we have a sense that it's in front of us. And that's having an effect on all of us. It's changing all of us. And people are tired of the hate. We're tired of being pitted against each other. You can only be so angry for so long. It's exhausting. It's exhausting to be so angry. The end is still coming. Our job is to actually bring as many people back to the Word as we can. That's the whole thing. That's our job, is to bring as many people back to the Word. And that Word is love. Jesus Christ emulated his whole life. His whole life was to show us how to lead. And everything he said, notice how no atheist ever argues what Jesus Christ said. They'll argue the other stuff in the Bible all they want. And why is that? Because what Jesus Christ taught us is infallible. It can't be argued with. It is the way it is. You know? It's all about the word. If you want to feel happy and you want to be reminded of the word and you don't want to go read, go watch Godspell. You know, it's one of my favorite. See, the whole always angry, I'm just too old for that. It's exhausting. And it's so easy to love. I just don't understand the argument against loving people. Filling your hearts with love. I don't understand the argument against that. And I just think that we're supposed to remind each other. And we're supposed to lead by example. And I know that the group that is starting to form, so far, every single person brings their own attributes to this group. We're all leaders in our own right. We all have different paths and different things that we bring to this. But every single one of us is a caregiver and has, you know, empathy and love, you know? And I just think the group is going to grow. I just do. I think that this group is going to grow. I think that heaven needs us to actually take a stand. There's an army of us here. I think there's an army of us here. See, I didn't like that Passion of the Christ movie. I don't like Mel Gibson, to be quite honest. Used to when he was younger. Loved him in Gallipoli. I loved the movie Gallipoli. Just loved that movie as a kid. But as you get older, it's easier to become jaded. And I'm speaking from my own experience. You know, it's easy to become jaded. You have to fight against, you know. See, that's, you know, I enjoy meeting people. And if people want, we live in a world where you can do whatever you want to do. I mean, I'm gay and don't understand the whole wanting to change your sex. I just don't understand it. I don't think it works. I think that I just don't understand it. And I'm not gonna try and control someone else but I think that the fact that life has consequences, and that's the reason why the suicide rate is up so high. You know? I love the Cheech and Chong thing, you know? The devil is the author of confusion. I'm not going to go through it. I don't agree with it. I enjoy being a guy. As a guy, I don't understand why anyone would want to be a woman. I have a lot of women friends, and the way people treat women, including how women treat other women, I just don't understand why anyone would want to be a woman as a guy. There's nothing wrong with women. I love women. And so they're, you know, I've only been to Texas once. As crazy as it sounds, because I disliked Reagan when Reagan was president and I was younger. I'm not a Republican like today's Republican. I think the Republican Party is crazy. But where I identify with as I've gotten older is the old school Republicans. What Republicans used to be, you know? But everything's been jaded. And this whole child trafficking thing isn't just Democrats. When I was a kid, it was all Republicans in that Hummel Park thing and off at Air Force Base. It was all Republicans. So being able to separate the two, but I'm way more conservative as I've gotten older. And my friends are conservative. And I know that this last election, there was oh, well, if you voted for Trump, you couldn't, people who didn't vote for Trump couldn't be friends with people who voted for Trump. I don't agree. I don't like Trump. But you want to know what? This is America. And we all have the right to choose our own shit. And whether or not I agree or not, sometimes the most fun conversations I have are with people I don't agree with, you know? And so, as a woman, it's easier to be a woman. That's cool. That's cool, you know? Saki is definitely a woman. I appreciate women. I also appreciate being a guy, you know? And you can add or cut off whatever you want, but in 100 years, if they pulled your body up and ran your DNA, it doesn't make any difference how you identify with, you know? That's a lot of women. My sister Cindy was like that. She would have hated being a guy. Was happy with being a woman. That's the whole thing. I think it's just healthier to appreciate who you are and what you have. You know, that's what I think, is that there's more fulfilling to that. Plus, I put on a dress 3 times, 3 Halloweens in a row. If you think I'm ugly as a dude, you should see me in a dress. I make one ugly woman. I make one. There were drag queens at the end, the very last time I ever did it, and they just told me, keep your beard and all of that, because there's nothing we can do. You ain't going to be pretty. The very last time, the only thing is that I had these 2 Nerf basketballs, because I had this dress on, so I had boobs like out to here. And we went to a party, and all of our friends were straight. I prefer straight friends. And so most of our friends were straight. And it was funny how many of the guys that I was, you know, because I'd be hanging out with the guys, straight guys, how many of them, several times during that party, I had to tell them, you realize these are just Nerf basketballs, right? They're not real. My face is up here. Because it's true. They would look at my fake boobs, you know? But I make one ugly woman, you know? I like being a guy. And I like women, obviously, you know? Praying for the lost. Yeah, it's funny. People just I'm going to pray because I'm at 113. And I kind of want to keep these things at like an hour and a half is about the longest I want to do anymore. I enjoy coming on here and talking with everybody. I pretty much said what I needed to say in this whole situation here. And I just think that an hour and a half is just more tolerable than the longer ones. And people are more apt to watch it. And fill your heart with love. We're at a point now, fill your heart with love. And there are those of us who are being called because we are from heaven. We've never fit in here. This life has sucked because it's so not what we're inclined to, but we're here for a reason. And it's funny that some of us have gone through so much shit and yet can't help ourselves from loving, you know? I couldn't be on the other side because I don't know what it's like to hate people. I don't know what it's like to be obsessed with people and be angry about who they are and what they have and all of that. I guess I'm just too focused on myself, and that sounds bad, but I just rather lift people up, not the group that I'm fighting, because they're a bunch of fucking child killers. Screw them. That's the one thing. That's the one Republican thing that I feel that I have, that I'm going to have to answer to God for. Because, right, I just don't want it in my face and expect it to accept a lie. Right. I just think that there's a bunch of us who are being called. There's an army of us. And whether or not we're aware of it, just like that Deputy White, I don't think he's aware. I think he has an idea, but even he doesn't understand the light that shines from him. He, and it does. It affects everyone. And it's affecting people in that office. And their gatekeeper is no longer there. So the dark shit, the stuff that's in control, I just feel that there's becoming more of a balance. And in that balance, justice and truth will come through. Because it's no longer being blocked. And that's what I feel is getting ready to happen. With that said, I'm going to pray. So, we come to you as your children. And I just want to thank you for... Today's been a rough day, but it's been an enlightening day. I had to consciously refocus my perspective and allow myself to trust that the hope wouldn't die or it wouldn't be killed. And I realized that that's difficult. And if I have a difficulty with that, I would be willing to bet, because I'm not that remarkable, I'd be willing to bet a lot of us have that same issue. And Heaven, I just ask that you help all of us be able to have, just bless us with the perspective that you're with us and that we're here for a reason and that we can trust ourselves to let heaven shine through us as us to be the miracles some of us need. We all plant, that's what we do, is we plant seeds. And we emulate as best as we can our brother, your son, Jesus Christ, who came and taught us the word. That word is love. Love God, love everyone else. The two commandments that Jesus Christ gave us. In teachings that are infallible. You cannot argue against them. Argue the Bible all you want, but the teachings of Jesus Christ are infallible, and that there's a reason for that. And I just ask that you help each one of us find what we're being called to do, and let us bring our light. Stop putting our light, trying to hide it in a bushel, Let us be like that Deputy White kid who can't help but shine his light. He can't help it. It's just who it is. And he has so many people that notice it. It's quite remarkable. And I use them as an example because he's the easiest, he's the most convenient example I have right now. But there are so many of us that are exactly the same. We just Help us to learn how to trust ourselves and the fact that you are within us and all around us, and that you want to use us to be the miracle in people's lives. We are grateful that you sent your son, Jesus Christ, down, who taught us how to live the word and showed us through his own actions how to live the word. Let us be able to emulate that as best as we possibly can, and help us lead by example. And we say these things lovingly and eternally grateful for your son, our brother, Jesus Christ. Amen. And so, oh yeah, the thing about social media and all of that stuff is that there has been such a weird focus on, it's promoted all the wrong things. It's promoted all the wrong things. And the critical reasoning skills, because you need critical reasoning to be self-aware. That's just, you need critical reasoning skills to be self-aware. And I owe everything to our brother Jesus. He was the one. When I went to go tear into Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you have to understand I was raised by Luciferians, and I was full of anger and rage at the shit that I endured with this group. And I went into the teachings of Jesus Christ to tear it apart. And what I realized was I couldn't tear it apart. It was infallible. There was no way to argue with anything that man taught. And that was when I realized the word was the way. The word was the way. And it doesn't make any difference. The people around you who choose not to live the word, the Dead Isaac Cappy Club, all of their bullshit, I can't change anything about that or anything about that. But I can choose for myself not to live like that. And for me, I just have never understood the argument against filling your heart with love. I just never have understood it. And I think that, judge not lest thee be judged. And vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Being focused on vengeance is not, and I know, trust me, I know how hard it is not to want vengeance. And sometimes it is an ebb and tide. Because, trust me, I know. But you just have to have faith and do it, Being the outcast was my comfort too, Danny. I ran from the dark for a long, long time. And now that they don't have their gatekeeper, Neil, all of these investigators are looking at this relationship that this dumbass group has with my family. My family, who I have been trying to expose as child traffickers. My stepmother. My stepmother is a definite child killer. She was working in league, hand in hand with my father. And now there's no more gatekeeper. There's no more gatekeeper. I don't know why Neil isn't working, but the fact that he isn't working is significant. That's how I feel. That's how I look at it. That's how I feel. I think that's what's fueling these freaks because they've been just aggressive the last few days. And there are some of you in here who know exactly what I'm talking about because you've seen the shit. Just along with investigators and police and, you know. And isn't it funny, Danny, how you tried to commit suicide and yet heaven was just like, no, no. And here you are, you know? And people will let you down. That's just, you know who won't let you down? Heaven. Even though it's hard. Because heaven is always putting me in positions, telling me to do stuff that I don't want to do. It's, you know, it is difficult to be. Following heaven is not, oh, everything works out well. Following heaven usually means that the road becomes harder. But there's a reason why we get tested so hard. And just gotta cowboy the hell up. So I'm not from Texas. I think I have a cowboy hat. I have one pair of cowboy boots. Was never much of a cowboy, even though I love horses. But grew up in Iowa. There's not a lot of cowboys here. Farmers. And I'm not a farmer either. Thought I would love farm life and living out, but I've heard horror stories about roosters this morning and realized I'm not much of a farm boy. Yeah, you have livestock. I would have been traumatized this morning. And so, oh God. I'm neither a racist. I'm not racist at all. I don't understand the whole racist thing. And gay, well, I'm celibate because of my faith. I'll never get into another relationship, and because I'll never get into another relationship, I have no interest in a one-night stand. And that's all because of my faith. If anything, I'm more asexual because I don't want to have sex. The thought of me having to get naked and jiggy with anybody is a horrifying thought to me. That's just what I'm saying. I just so not interested. So not interested. Have so much more other things to focus on. You know? If I get so hot and heavy that I can't handle it, I'll just dismiss myself and go deal with myself, and in 15 minutes it'll be all over with, and then I don't have to deal with any of it, you know? No interest. None. Zero. None. And just this last note, because then I'm going to get off here. This last note. Gio, when I was in Omaha, I was a total top. That's what got everyone in. That's why I had people liked me in the gay lifestyle, because I was a top. You know? Nobody paid me to give them a blowjob. I don't know where the fuck you got that from. But even so what? All I'd have to say is, well, good for me, you know? But that, I don't even know where that's coming from, and I don't even know why it's a fucking issue. You know, I just don't understand why it's even an issue. It's stupid, you know? And the fact that you're focused on it the way you are, I find more telling about you than it does me. You know? I'd have to say the same. Good for you. You know? I was never much into giving oral sex. I thought it was gross. Getting it was great. Not interested in giving it. Never did. You know? Because of the shit I went through as a kid, having stuff put in my mouth, no interest whatsoever. None. Just saying. So that's just it. So random, and that's what I was told. It was such a random thing to say. Why are you focused on that, you weirdo? With that, and then Daniel Dowd calling me fucking daddy, it was bizarre. And these guys are dealing with kids. That's what bothers me, is that these guys are dealing with kids. And it's bizarre. It's bizarre. But no interest. That voicemail was so gross. Yes. That's why I don't listen to them. Because they're just creepy. And then I want to go scrub myself with the Brillo pad afterwards. It's just, ew, you know? Ew. And on so many levels, ew. But I should get off here. I am surprised that my lab isn't up here because they haven't eaten tonight. And, but I'm not angry. I'm really, really trying to not be angry in these lives anymore because I know that it makes people uncomfortable. There are times, and the person that my producer told me, stop dropping F-bombs. The people that are actually helping kind of shift and get me to think about things have been just a godsend. Just a godsend. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And that's all I want to say is that I appreciate it. I appreciate the assistance. I appreciate the thoughts and the direction and all of that. Of course you're watching me. You know? The bad guys are obsessed with me in a way, but you guys have always been my target audience. You've always been my target audience. Because you need to know what I've done and what's headed for you. That's how this game works. It's the game your group developed. Whether or not you accept what I'm telling you, whether or not you understand, whether or not it makes no difference. The fact is that you have to be told. And that's what you are being told. And now I know that not having your gatekeeper on top of me like he was, it has thrown a wrench in all of the shit. Because what I've realized in the last couple days is if they actually go look at your stupid shit, they're gonna find so much of it. And it's easily accessed. That's what I have discovered with people doing research, is how easy it's going to be to access it. And there have been people who have accessed it, who are well aware. And chances are, Neil not working, I bet he's not having the time of his life. Something just tells me it's not because he's having the time of his life, which is the reason why, because he just got elected back in. he just got elected back in. Of course, he was the only one running, so there was no one running against him. But with that said, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Not maternity leave. No. No. Well, maybe. As much as Thomas was blowing smoke up his ass, he could be pregnant. You don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. That just brought an image to my mind. I sound like a donkey, but it's just oh, sorry about that. With that said, you know, I'm gonna get off here. Thanks, Danny. It has been a pleasure. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for everyone coming in. You know, I like it when there is discourse and there's interaction and people actually derive something and are engaged in the conversation. And I find that to be really important. Good night, guys, because I don't want to be 2 hours. So I will talk to you guys soon. It's Sunday. I'll be probably doing another one of these, I don't know, Tuesday, Wednesday, unless something happens that I feel like I need to do one right away. But thank you. Fill your hearts with love and lead by example. And now my black lab is up here because she is shrinking to nothing because she needs to eat. So with that said, bye guys. Okay.